Everyone thought that he was a lonely salaryman, but he gets transported into another world with unlimited magical powers. Liam was an average salaryman in a dead-end job who ends up dozing off at work, but when he wakes up he finds himself in a totally different world, with nobles and high-class people having a drink while a maid tries to wake him up. He is utterly confused at this and wonders whether this is all a dream, but the maid keeps telling him that he should greet the guests for the party. Liam decides to have a look in the mirror because a TikTok said that it can end dreams, but he is shocked to see the reflection of a young boy staring back at him. The maid is a little worried about this little incel when his father walks towards him and tells him to get his together and do his looks maxing routine. Later, Liam is totally surprised by that, but slowly realizes that he has been transported to a different world, where he is the fifth son of a noble family. The party going on right now is for the birth of his sister. Since all four of his older siblings are boys, he decides to sleep it off, hoping that he would wake back into the real world. But that doesn't happen. As he wakes up still in the child's body, he decides to go out into the balcony, where the maid tells him that all the land in front of him belongs to his family. Liam can't believe his eyes as he wonders how rich they actually are, while the maid looks at him confused. Later, he meets up with his older siblings. Bruno, the fourth son of the family and a total dumbass pimp, already starts planning to marry their sister into the royal family to secure their own future. He explains that their father and oldest brother are currently trying to serve the nation in some way, as, according to the laws of this country, every noble family needs to do something which serves the nation. Otherwise, they will lose their status. Unfortunately, their dumbass father hasn't done anything of importance yet, even though he is in the third generation, which means that if they don't do anything, they will be stripped of their noble status and become commoners. Bruno also tells him that their oldest brother, Al, tried becoming a storytime TikToker, but the Sigma King called him a beta BCH, which makes their job to impress the king even harder. Before they can talk more, though, and their magic teacher enters the room with a book in his hands. Liam gets insanely excited at the thought of learning magic, but Bruno tells him to calm down, since only a very few people manage to perform magic. Liam doesn't give about his pimp of a brother, however, and immediately rushes outside and asks the maid to show him to the library. Inside the library, he finds a bunch of books on magic, so he randomly picks one out. He starts reading the book and tries out a basic fire spell which, to his own surprise, he succeeds in. He manages to make his hand into a stupid candle, while the maid congratulates him on his first spell. He immediately goes to meet his father in his study and asks whether he can take out the books from the library. But Liam's father doesn't care about his dumbass fifth child and tells him to do whatever he wants. Liam cusses him out in his mind and leaves with all the books needed. He starts practicing magic every single day in his own room and slowly starts getting better. He starts learning more complex magic, and after a month, he reaches a point where he is able to perform flame magic without even looking at the magic books. Bruno, the pimp, is really impressed by this, since even the people who manage to learn magic take at least a year to cast the simplest spells without the magic book. He takes the magic book and tries to cast magic on his own, but is pathetic as can't even cast the simplest of magic, even with the books. Bruno hands Liam the book, claiming that he can do great stuff with magic and advance in the society, which Liam doesn't really care about, and heads back to the library to get the ice spell book. While on his way to his room, he ends up getting stopped by his father, who demands to know whether he has learned how to use magic. Liam gets a little nervous and prematurely ejaculates a little bit of ice magic on the book. Liam's father doesn't seem impressed by this and asks whether that's all he could do, but Liam decides to show his brain-rotted father the true limits of his skill and cast the flame cutter spell without the book, which shocks and impresses his father. He immediately becomes happy and tells Liam to get as many magic books as he wants before leaving. Liam seems happy to know that his father liked him, but on the way into the forest, he ends up stumbling upon a man in a white jacket who asks whether he is from the noble Hamilton family. Liam tells him that he is the fifth son. When the man asks whether he is here to capture him, Liam doesn't have any idea what this weird-ass man is talking about, but he doesn't want to get baby oiled by Diddy, so he tries to leave. The man, however, ends up stopping him, as he claimed that he can show him a more efficient way to do magic. Liam immediately gets interested, and the man suddenly uses all 5 different elemental magic at once. Liam is shocked to the core by this, and just as impressed as he begs the man to teach him. The man agrees and tells Liam to draw a circle and a square at the same time to make sure he is not dyslexic. After that test, he tells Liam the trick to perform such magic, and, to his surprise, Liam manages to use both the flame ball and the flame cutter magic at once. The mysterious man is shocked, as this technique can only be performed by 1 in a million people, and he just wanted to flex his skill on a kid. Liam then tries to use 3 different magic spells at once, and even though he manages to succeed, his stamina is too low and his magic powers run out. The man tells him not to worry about it, as he will slowly get better, and shows that his current limit is to use 13 spells at once, but he is trying to cast 16 spells at once. Liam is impressed by this, so the man decides to hand him a Samsung Galaxy ring, which contains a ton of magic books. Liam gets excited by this and tries a wind magic spell which works flawlessly, but when he turns around to thank the man, he mysteriously disappears, just like my dad. Suddenly, the maid comes towards Liam asking whether he is fine, since they have heard that a mysterious man was spotted on their property. Liam lies that he was alone, so the maid hands him a new magic book and tells him to be careful before leaving. Liam wonders what was that about when suddenly the man reappears, claiming that he simply made himself invisible. He then looks at the book and tells Liam to try and cast a spell while wearing the galaxy ring. Liam follows the orders and summons a flaming salamander, which immediately gets sucked in by the ring like a pokeball. Liam realizes that he can save any spell he wants in this ring, so he starts summoning as many Pokemons as possible before saving them in his ring. He turns around to thank the man, but he disappears once again with a note telling him to keep his mouth shut. A month passes by after that incident, and Liam starts getting better at controlling his magic, as he creates charcoal with the help of his spirits, and also some mana crystals. Bruno ends up spotting him in the forest, and checks the things that he made and claims that these skills will make him an independent person. After that, this incel happily claims that he is getting married to a low-ranking noble family. But even though they are poorer, Bruno will still have more independence, and will also pop his cherry. Finally, Liam is happy to hear that, but Bruno tells him that he should also start looking for ways to get independence. He explains that before Liam was born, his father really wanted a daughter to marry into the royal family, but his plans failed. As Liam was born a boy, out of desperation, his father collected 1,000 soldiers and launched an attack on the Dragon of the Hills. But even though he managed to seal the monster, he ended up losing 90% of his soldiers. Bruno claims that even though Al and their father are trying everything desperately, he personally thinks that the Hamilton family is over and Liam should secure his own future. Liam thanks him for the advice and leaves into the city to sell his stuff off and get some money. After getting a fair deal, he gets some lunch at a local noodle shop. When he suddenly gets an idea and rushes back to his own home, he enters the kitchen and hands his servants a pack of instant ramen and tells them to try it. The servants are impressed by this new creation. While this capitalistic pig starts thinking about how he can turn this world into America with 50% obesity, he immediately rushes off to sell the instant ramen in the local shops, but they refuse to buy his product since his oldest brother, Alb, has put a restriction on him from selling his stuff. Liam leaves, sadly, while Al walks out from behind the counter, cursing Liam for being so good at magic. Liam, on the other hand, wonders what he could do now and decides to try something out. He has recently learned a storage box spell, which can store a ton of stuff inside and can also teleport it somewhere else. Liam decides to use his magic unconventionally and creates a clone of himself, which he sends off to a different kingdom not controlled by the Hamilton family. The clone ends up selling everything and puts all the money back in the storage box, which Liam can easily take out at will. In this way, Liam, the capitalist pig, invented slavery in this new world as well. A couple days pass by as Liam keeps practicing with his own illusions and gets even stronger than before. Suddenly one day, Al approaches him and claims that he has been hearing a lot of good things about him and asks what he wants to be when he grows up. Liam immediately gets alert, since he knows that Alb thinks Liam is trying to become the next family head instead of him. So he simply says that he wants to find a job and earn money. This answer seems to satisfy Al, as he tells Liam that he will introduce him to the Hunters Guild. Liam is really happy about it, since he will become an adventurer this way, whose job will be to hunt down monsters. The very next day, he visits the Hunters Guild, and where all the adventurers start mocking him for being a short king. But Liam keeps his head up high and his middle finger higher as he walks up to the guildmaster. The man tells him that even if he is a noble, he can only take the jobs befitting his rank, and asks Liam to show him how strong he is by attacking him. The guildmaster clearly underestimates Liam, so Liam decides to go easy on him and shoot some low-level fireballs around him. This shocks every single person in the guild, including the guildmaster, who claims that with his skills, Liam easily deserves to be a B-ranked adventurer. Soon he leaves the guild with a shiny new badge, as he wonders how strong the ranked adventurers actually are. While walking though, he ends up being stopped by a gold-digging ethot named Asna, who asks whether he is truly a son of the Hamilton family, and whether she can join his party. At the end of the dumb is still a guy, and jugs are jugs, so he agrees like a total S, and heads off into the forest for their first mission. The moment they enter the deep forest, though, they immediately come face to face with a giant wolf beast. The furry hoe immediately jumps into action and takes out her knives when, to her surprise, a bunch of other wolves also appear from the bushes, completely surrounding them. Asuna gets worried, but Liam tells her to calm down and busts out his magic Pokemons that the wolves immediately grab between their jaws. Suddenly, though, the Pokemon start swelling up, like my wife after marriage, completely incapacitating the poor wolves. After which Asuna makes short work of the beasts. They haul back a huge load of 42 dead wolves, completely shocking everyone, including the guild master, who immediately hires them for a job. Both Asuna and Liam soon leave for the task at hand, which is to defeat a caterpillar monster, which has been blocking a major route of trade. Asuna is pretty happy, but also scared, since monsters are much different than normal beasts, since they have a magic stone inside of them, which gives them immense power and special abilities. Liam, however, is still optimistic, but his optimism changes when he finally finds a caterpillar, whose body is basically made out of metal, making all of their attacks completely worthless. Neither physical nor magical attacks seem to work on the giant monster. When Liam gets an idea and decides to give it another go, he soon instructs Asuna to act as bait, and once the monster is in position, he takes out his item box and creates a huge boulder, killing the caterpillar immediately. They soon return back to the city, producing not one, but 2 dead caterpillars. The guild master is shocked, but Liam claims that he simply used his enemy search skill to find the other one as well. The guild master is impressed and ends up giving them a huge bonus. A couple of days later, Al and his father arrive in the city to wait for a very high-ranking person. The man walks out of his carriage towards Liam's father, but takes a quick glance at Liam as well. Liam feels a little uneasy, and his feelings turn right, as he is called by the man who asks, where did he get the ring he has? It turns out that the mysterious man who taught Liam was a highly skilled mage named Raymond, who this man knew from earlier. The old man laughs at this, and then tells Liam to attack his servant with as much power as possible, since he wants to check his strength. The butler man goes into the corner and stands as Liam charges up 11 attacks at once and hits the servant with a barrage of fireballs, breaking his barrier and hurting him. The jackass old man, however, simply laughs at this, claiming that Liam is already strong enough. He asks Liam what wants to do when he grows up, and when Liam claims that he wants to be independent, the old man immediately decides to knight him so that he can gain his independence. Already after that, one day, when Liam was practicing his item box magic, he ends up finding a letter inside, which was from Raymond, claiming that he wants to give Liam a graduation gift. He claims that he has put 100 kilograms gold into the lake he just emptied, and Liam needs to find a way to get that out. Liam racks his brain for a while, realizing that it couldn't have been gold bars. So he follows his hunch and commands a box to release the gold dust powder, which turns out to be the correct answer. Soon a trapdoor beneath him opens, leading him to a dungeon where he finds a very old magic book and a letter claiming that Raymond was never able to use it. So he is passing it on to Liam in the hopes that he might be able to use it. Liam is overjoyed at this and starts practicing the otherworldly magic spells, but even after trying multiple times, he keeps failing. Several days pass by and finally Liam manages to produce a magic spell from the book named Another World. This creates a magical door which takes him to a different dimension, where he can hide himself or anything he wants. He realizes that this spell can have endless possibilities, so he happily continues practicing. Another month passes by on one of their adventures, while fighting against a frog monster, all of Liam's attacks fail, as the frog decides to self-destruct. Realizing that there is no way out, he quickly creates the door in which he hides alongside Asuna. As the frog destroys everything in the area, Asuna realizes that she would have died if not for Liam's magic, which makes her doubt her own strength. They soon recover the magic stone and head back to the guild, where the guild master is shocked, since it was in a ranked task. Realizing that Asuna is doubting her skills, the guild master suggests that she forms a contract with Liam as his familiar, which is basically a slave, which will help her gain levels faster. Asuna, the power-hungry hoe, immediately agrees, and soon the guild master goes through with a spell binding them in a contract. This ends up being very beneficial for her, since she gains a unique skill which makes her faster than the Flash. Realizing this, Asuna decides to take Liam over to her friend named Jod, who was a veteran adventurer herself. She decides to enter a contract with Liam as well, and to everyone's surprise, even she ends up getting a unique skill which helps her cure any wound with her cooking. This is basically a miracle, and soon the information about this spreads all over the kingdom. Several days later, the old man invites Liam over for some tea, and claims that the Princess Scarlet of their kingdom is very interested to see his slaves perform for her. But Liam refuses, claiming that they are his friends and not in a circus before leaving. The old man immediately apologizes, as it turns out that the princess was disguised as a servant, and watching this young boy defy a princess's order make her even more interested in him. The next day, Liam is called to meet Princess Scarlet, who immediately strikes him as with a toxic personality. As soon as he finishes giving his greetings, she arranges a chair for him, and then tells him to recite the story of how he defeated the giant caterpillars and frogs. Liam is relieved because this is an easy request, and the princess is really impressed that he managed to defeat such powerful monsters without even knowing high-level magic spells. Liam suddenly feels a tent in his pants at the mention of high-level magic spells, but then Scarlet snaps him back to reality, asking about his contract magic. She asks if he can show it to her, and Liam is not going to fold just because this has royal authority. He refuses Scarlet's request, clearly telling her that his friends aren't circus performers. Scarlet suddenly laughs, saying that Liam is indeed an amusing person who entertained her twice. She declares that he will be rewarded for this, and immediately grants him the title of a baron. Liam is bamboozled because he knows that he hasn't done to deserve this promotion, but Scarlet tells him that he made her laugh twice, and that is enough of an accomplishment. She also gives him a magic book about familiar contract magic, and Liam is truly thrilled to receive it. Later, as he goes to the forest to learn the magic in the book, Bruno comes there to pay him a visit. He gives him some birthday bumps to congratulate him for becoming a noble, and then says that Al must be cursing himself right now because he helped Liam obtain a higher title than their father. Liam tells Bruno that he still is a baron, which is a lower rank than his father, but Bruno explains that the first-gen nobles who obtain the title by achieving something are considered higher ranking than those who got it handed down to them by their dads. At night, as Liam goes back home, he runs into Aelby, who is boiling over with rage and jealousy. He scoffs as he passes Liam, and then swears that he will do something that will show everyone that he is better. The next day, Liam meets up with Asuna and Jody, both of whom start calling him master and asking him to do unholy things to them. This makes all the men in the city jealous, and Liam finds it hard to endure their gazes. So he takes his girls for monster hunting. Jod is an archer who pins down the wolves, while Asuna quickly finishes them off. Jod remarks that her eyesight has improved a lot after the contract, and that is a really great thing for an archer. Liam decides to improve her eyesight even further with an enchantment spell, basically turning her eyes into telescopes. She evolves from a mid-ranged archer to a sniper and earnestly thanks Liam for that. Soon they return to the guild and find that everyone is in a hurry. They ask one man what is happening, and he replies that the dumbass ALB messed up badly. He removed the seal of the powerful monster sealed in their territory, and too many people have gotten seriously injured because of that. Liam immediately realizes that Al took this foolish step because he was jealous of him, and he runs to the mountains, where he sees dozens of injured soldiers, and even Elb is on a stretcher. As soon as he sees Liam, Al grabs his collar and says that he won't lose to him, but then the guild master bonds him and puts him to sleep because he doesn't want to hear another word that comes out of this idiot's mouth. AA asks him, what are they dealing with? And the guild master tells her that decades ago Liam's great-grandpa sealed the dragon fiend in the mountains, but now Al has removed the seal. The dragon fiend Raiden itself is quite weak after being sealed off for such a long time, and the real problem are his offsprings, who have hurt all the soldiers. The guild master says that he has arranged the people who can recall the dragon fiend, but as long as they don't deal with the kids first, it won't be possible. Liam and the girls go to where the dragons are, and Asuna charges ahead to deal with the dragon kids that are smaller than she expected. However, their fire breath is really powerful, and it can turn a tree into ash within seconds. Liam tells Asuna to get back, and then shoots fireballs at the dragon kids, but they counter it. He realizes that they can't win, and the girls suggest that they retreat. Suddenly the dragon kids charge them, and Liam gets an idea. He tells the girls to run away as fast as they can, and then summons the magic book to open the door to the pocket dimension right in front of the dragon kids. They dive right into the pocket dimension without thinking about it, and Liam instantly dispels it. The baby dragons disappear with that, and everyone rejoices because they now have a clear chance at victory as the magicians cast the seal around the dragon. Asuna and Jod ask Liam about the spell he used earlier. He tells them about the SPSP and how he can store things in a pocket dimension. He says that since he has not completely mastered the spell, the things inside the pocket dimension may vanish, and that means they won't have to worry about the baby dragons. Asuna starts fawning over Liam because of this. When suddenly he hears a voice calling him, he turns around and finds that it is the dragon fiend, Rhydon, who is talking to him. He is shocked and asks how can this happen, but Rhydon has more important questions for him. He can sense that Liam's body and soul don't matter much, and he can also read his mind to learn that he is from another world. Liam is still processing this development, but Rhydon has taken an interest in him. He asks Liam to take him along and show him the kind of future he can create, and assures that he can help him with his power. Liam accepts the proposal because he doesn't get any bad vibes from the dragon. Rhydon then suddenly turns into mana and enters Liam's body, getting engraved on his hand as a tattoo. Liam can feel energy overflowing from his body, and he immediately gets to test it. He shoots 11 magic missiles without incantation, and when he chants a spell, he can fire 17 of them with perfect control. He is amazed by this, but then he sees all the magicians wheezing and coughing like they forgot their asthma meds. This morning, Rhydon tells Liam to absorb his mana into his body because it is overwhelming the others. Liam does that quickly, and the magicians finally breathe in peace. The guild master thanks him for handling the case so well, and Liam apologizes for the inconvenience his stupid older brother caused for everyone. He decides to make it up to the injured people by donating 10 kilos of gold. Later that night, Liam's dad thanks him for taking care of the mess ALB created. Liam is curious about what will happen to him now, and his dad replies that he will stay under house arrest for the time being and he will think about his punishment seriously. Liam feels bad for his brother and goes to his room to talk, but doesn't go inside as he hears Al screaming that it should have been him to revive the Hamilton family and not Liam. Liam realizes that his brother just cared about his family name and that made him into such a prick. He decides to leave him undisturbed and goes to bed. As he wakes up the next morning, he realizes that he got 2 new exciting spells after forming a contract with Rhydon. He immediately rushes to the forest to practice them, and after working hard all day, he manages to master just one of the spells. This spell allows him to summon the baby dragon from the pocket dimension, and it is really friendly and obedient. Now, as the baby dragon is cuddling with Liam, he hears a surprised voice asking if he can do holy magic too. She tells him that she is here for important business. First, she tells Liam that defeating a dragon is a big accomplishment, but the old men in power won't allow her to give him a bigger title than a baron. That is why she is going to grant him the title of a hero candidate, because that will not only help him, but also make the public be at ease. Scarlet then asks Liam to tell her the story of how he defeated the dragon, and he tells her about making a contract with it. This shocks the princess, because now she is certain that Liam can use holy magic, and if that news gets out, it can become a huge burden on him. So she orders him to keep this story a secret from everyone. Until she says so, Liam has no choice but to agree. But the next morning he gets the price from the princess for keeping his mouth shut, and it is a treasure chest containing 3,000 gold coins. A couple days later, the old man James comes to see Liam and asks him if he can use holy magic. Liam stutters as he tries to come up with an answer, because Princess Scarlet has paid him to stay silent. However, James tells him that the princess is too young and inexperienced to handle such big matters. He says that the amount of money she gifted Liam was enough to make him suspicious. On top of that, Scarlet would normally have reported Liam's achievement of stopping a dragon fiend to her father immediately to get him a promotion, but she did not, which meant she was hiding something. On being pressed by James to reveal the details, Liam finally folds, and he admits that after absorbing the power of the dragon fiend Rhydon, he got some holy magic spells. James is curious to see them, and Liam uses the all-clear spell that dispels all negative effects from his target, including poisoning and petrification. James is impressed by this, and then decides to give Liam an important history lesson. He begins talking about the War of 3 Dragons that happened many centuries ago. The dragon that could use magic won the war, and then it joined a human who could borrow the dragon's holy magic. That human went on to establish a country, and it is the country in which they live. Liam is a bit confused by how this story fits his context, but James asks him what comes to his mind when he hears that the dragon joined a human. This kinky son of a says that he imagined the dragon marrying the human and having children together, but turns out the rest of the humans are the same. They also thought the same thing, but now James believes that it was the other way around. He tells Liam that he absorbed the dragon into his body, therefore joining it. Liam thinks that his words make sense, and James says that he has the potential to recreate the legend of their country's foundation. That also makes the old man worry about 2 things. The first concerning the Hamilton family. He tells Liam that his great-grandfather got the title of a noble by sealing Rhydon, but in case he turns out to be the dragon that helped in founding their kingdom, this achievement would be immediately taken back, and in the worst case, their noble status would be dissolved. However, that is a smaller problem, because James fears that the dragon may be angry and plotting revenge against their country for being sealed. Liam understands the logic behind that, but then he recalls that when he called Rhydon a dragon fiend earlier, he calmly told him that he doesn't care about what humans call him, because they give him a new title every few centuries. He concludes that Rhydon isn't angry at the kingdom, and James thinks it is all because of Liam, who properly taught the dragon and freed him. The next day, as Liam goes to the guild, Hisa and Jod are eagerly waiting for him. As soon as they see him, they drag him away from the guild, because a lot of people are showing interest in him. After he defeated the dragon, all of them want to join Liam's party so that he can carry them, and the girls ask him to be careful about letting anyone join the party. That is not all, because as Liam reaches home, he finds a fat stack of Tinder profiles of the girls that want to marry him, or at least their fames want them to. Liam is a bit overwhelmed by this. And then Bruno, the pimp, comes there to marry Liam to his wife's distant cousin. Liam somehow dodges all the marriage offers and goes to Asuna and Jod to show them something special. He takes them to the forest, and they hope he is going to show them his foot-long sausage, but instead he takes them inside his pocket dimension, which has a house inside it. Now he tells them that he got it made from some carpenters in another city and then put it in, and since he has mastered the another world skill, the things in this dimension won't vanish. He then gives the girls a tour of the house and explains what positions they will do at each location. Jod thinks that this place is too bright, and Liam decides to experiment on ways to set the lighting just right. He first summons a shadow spirit that turns the entire dimension pitch black, and then uses a salamander to light up the fireplace for some natural light and warmth. Jod is still not satisfied, but the low-level shade spirit can't control the darkness level. Asuna says that she hopes spirits could evolve like them, and that gives Liam the idea to turn the shade spirit into its familiar. Just as he makes a contract with it, the spirit evolves and gains the ability to talk and manipulate darkness better. It swears its loyalty to Liam for making it evolve into a medium-level spirit, but Liam says that he can't summon him again because he doesn't know the spells for summoning medium-level spirits. The shade spirit tells him to use his ring to store him and then practice till he can summon him freely. Liam likes the idea, and he immediately sucks the spirit inside. Next, he evolves the salamander into Charizard's distant cousin and sucks him inside the ring as well. He then evolves and stores one spirit of each element and obtains the medium-level spirit summoning magic that is incredibly valuable. The next day, Liam goes to the forest because Rhydon has sent him there on a mission. Suddenly, Rhydon calls out to him and asks him to summon his kid. Liam does just that, and the baby dragon suddenly takes him to the hidden forest of the fairies. The fairies flee as soon as they see a human, but when Liam tells them that Rhydon sent him, they start trusting him. Liam has learned from Rhydon that fairies are in danger of being hunted because their wings are sold for a very high price. That is why the dragon wanted him to protect the fairies in his place by erecting a barrier to hide them and by giving them names, because it is one of the natural magic spells that all humans can do. Liam first uses the familiar contract spell on a fairy and names her Run, which causes her to evolve into an elf. Even Rihanna is surprised because it is a huge jump and Liam doesn't understand anything about it. Rhydon tells him that when he named the fairy along with the contract magic, the effect became stronger. He advises Liam to always name creatures he forms a contract with. From now on, after seeing one of their sister become an elf, all the fairies are eager to get named by Liam. He names them all as he turns them into his familiars, and soon everyone is an elf. RNA acts like their leader and asks Liam how they can serve him as his familiars and not having any task for them. He simply tells them to build a village and live here. The elves eagerly start planning their village, and Liam feels tired after using too much mana. As he is about to take a rest, he feels a strange magic power deep in the forest. He follows the power's direction, and soon finds a magic fruit hanging from a tree. Rihanna comes there and tells him that whenever fairies have free time, they gather the magic in the air and gather it in one place. Rhydon tells Liam to try it, and he gets permission from Rana to eat the fruit. Just as he takes a bite, he feels energy overflowing inside it. He tries shooting some missiles and finds that he can shoot 19 of them at once. Now, the next day, he visits the elves again, and they eagerly greet him. But all the enthusiasm leaves their body as they show Liam their miserable attempt at building a house. Suddenly, they hear a scream and run to its source to find that some bandits have captured an elf. Liam runs towards them telling them to leave the girl, but they decide to give him a reality check. One bandit attacks him, but Liam just hits him away with the magic missiles. The other two bandits decide to tag team him, but Liam summons his shadow clone and their combined attack knocks both the bandits out. Liam then decides to temporarily send the elves into the pocket dimension because the forest is not safe for them. He worries that there is not enough space for them there, but to his surprise, the pocket dimension has expanded because he ate the magic fruit yesterday. He tells the girls to get inside and then brings them out on his territory so that the bandits can't attack them. The elves are amazed at his abilities, and they kneel before him, begging him to be their king and lead them. They promise to do whatever he wants if he becomes their king, and the pervert decides to take up the offer. While he gives the elves some instant ramen to eat, he begins practicing the other high-level holy spell he got from Rayon. It has been 4 days since he started practicing it, but he has not been able to use it even once. Suddenly, he has his eureka moment, and he finally learns how to perform the spell. He gathers the elves around and then uses the newly learned spell, which is actually teleportation magic, to bring them to an isolated patch of land 100 kilometers away from his home. His clone was already waiting for him there, and that was how Liam was able to set this place as his destination for the teleportation magic. He dispels the clone, and then Rhydon tells him to use the power of his crest on the surrounding area. Just as Liam does that, a seal hiding the true appearance of the land is shattered. The elves are happy to see that they are going to live in a lush forest, and Rayond tells Liam that this is one of the locations he sealed. Liam asks the reason for that, but Rhydon falls silent, so he doesn't pry further. After that, the elf girls get busy finding places to build houses, and Liam practices his teleportation spell to master it. After many tries, he is able to reduce the duration to cast it to 0 seconds. He decides to head back home and leaves the 3 baby dragons to guard the elves. Once he reaches home, he is paid a visit by Scarlet, who asks him if the dragon inside him has mentioned anything about the Promised Land. Liam says that he has not, but reveals that he has mentioned the sealed lands. He also tells her about the elves, and Scarlet wants to see them. Liam has a favor to ask her before that, and that involves meeting a skilled engineer to help the elves build a village. Scarlet introduces him to a dwarf who is the court engineer, and Liam creates his clone to take him along to the elf village. Once they reach the forest, Scarlet asks Rhydon if this is the Promised Land, but he doesn't give a definite answer. Scarlet says that, according to legend, when humanity is on the brink of destruction, they will find shelter in the Promised Land. She takes out a ring that is the key for their salvation, and it resonates with Liam's tattoo. He asks to hold it, and just as he touches it, the island starts to float. There is no doubt in Scarlet's mind now, and she kneels before Liam, swearing loyalty to him, because he is the master of the Promised Land, and request him to create a country here that will save everyone. Soon after that, the elves start building their village with the help of the dwarf engineer, while Liam goes to eliminate all the monsters in the region. Scarlet eagerly watches him fight the monsters, and Liam asks her if she shouldn't return to the capital. Now she tells him that she is going to stay next to him and serve him because he is the master of the Promised Land. Liam is not so sure about that because it will be a huge political hassle. But Scarlet says that her mother's family is said to have dragon's blood in their veins, and that is why women from her family were often married into the royal family. However, she wants to serve Liam, who contains the holy dragon Rhydon inside him. On hearing this, Rhydon tells Liam to take Scarlet to the north because there is something she will like there. They head north and find a stone door that leads them to ancient ruins. As they head down the stairs, they find ancient scriptures painted on the walls, and then come face to face with a black dragon statue. The statue suddenly awakens, and Rhydon tells Liam that it is a guardian golem that is modeled after him. Liam's first task is to defeat the golem, and Rhydon gives him a hint for that. He says that his name is written on the golem's head in an ancient language, and if he erases one letter, it will turn into another world. That means obey. Luckily, Scarlet knows the language, and she tells Liam the exact letter he needs to erase. He teleports near the golem and hits the letter, suddenly turning into Scarlet's obedient pet because of the dragon blood inside her. She decides to stay with the golem for some time, and Liam goes outside. He starts sighing as he thinks how insistent Scarlet is on serving him because he can't get used to it. Suddenly, he sees smoke coming from the direction of the elf village and teleports there, only to find that everything has been reduced to rubble. Rena comes running and tells him that the wolf men attacked them and destroyed everything, and the wolfman tribe come there to face Liam too. The leader calls him a filthy the outsider and tells him to leave the Holy Land immediately if he doesn't want to become his family's dinner. Liam tries to talk things through, but the wolf leader pounces on him without giving him a chance. Liam teleports behind him and then hits him with a close-ranged lightning attack to stop him. He then summons a baby dragon to show the wolf leader that he is not a suspicious man. The wolf leader is astonished to see this, and Liam asks him if his tribe has been protecting this region on Ron's orders all this time. He affirms, and then Liam tells him that the elves are also under the dragon's protection. The wolf leader apologizes for attacking the village, but Rea tells him that it doesn't matter because they both serve the holy dragon. She suggests the wolves to enter into a contract with Liam and swear loyalty to him, and the entire tribe agrees to that. Liam sees no harm in doing that, and he starts with the leader of the wolves. Just as he casts the familiar contract magic on the leader, she turns into a woman. Liam is shocked to see this because he thought that the leader was a male, but anyway he names her Chris, and then forms a contract with the other wolves. The next day, he finds that the newly evolved werewolves are helping the elves to rebuild the village. Chris runs to hug him as soon as she sees him, and then apologizes again for damaging the village. Liam wishes that he had a spell to repair everything magically, and Rhydon tells him that if he doesn't have a spell like that, he can just create it. Liam gets excited on hearing this, and Rhydon tells him to clearly imagine the entire process, see from beginning to the end. Liam focuses hard and comes up with an auto-repair magic that allows items to return to their original state even if they are damaged. After that, he goes to an isolated area to create more new spells. While he is busy practicing an improved version of fire missiles, Rihanna comes there to inform him about an emergency. A group of human soldiers has entered the area, and they are trying to hunt the fairies for their wings. Liam immediately teleports to the location where the humans were spotted and goes to confront them. The soldiers ask him if he lives here and does he know about the fairies. Liam tells them that this place is his country and they should not come here without his permission. The soldiers just scoff at him, telling him to narrate that story to his imaginary friends. They try going ahead, so Liam shoots magic missiles to warn them. Despite that, one guy rushes towards him and Liam just teleports on his horse before blasting him away with a magic missile, and then tells them never to step foot in his country again. With that, he returns to his village, where Rihanna introduces him to the fairies that were living in this region till the humans attack them. She says that all of them want to form a contract with him, and Liam is flabbergasted as he sees their number. He spends the entire evening coming up with 100 new names while he forms contracts with the fairies and turns them into elves, and all of them become residents of his village. Later, Liam brings Scarlet, RNA, and Chris into his house in the Pocket Dimension and shows them the helmet the soldiers were wearing. Scarlet remarks that it is from the Pa Kingdom, which lies next to the Promised Land, along with the Kingdom of Jamal, which they belong to, and another country called Quater. She thinks that the soldiers yesterday were just scouts, and soon more armies will come from the three kingdoms to claim this territory as their own. Liam grows tense on hearing this, and he begins to seriously consider Scarlet's suggestion to build a country here. She tells him that he needs three things for a country. That is, land, people, and power. He already has the land, and more people will come as the news about the country spreads. Liam remarks that he needs power, and Chris volunteers to lead the army of werewolves to kill all the intruders who attack them. However, things progress faster than they were expecting, and the next day a noble from the Jamal Kingdom comes to see Liam on his king's order. He says that Jamal Kingdom doesn't want to fight with Liam, and instead wants to form an alliance with him, for that the king has offered to marry Princess Scarlet to him. Liam is taken aback to hear this, and though the offer sounds good, he wants to confirm things with Scarlet first. He creates the telepathy spell on the spot so that they can talk without letting others know, and asks if he should take the offer. She tells him that he should, because even if there is a huge political plan behind this offer, the marriage will still help his kingdom greatly. On hearing this, Liam agrees to the noble's offer and says that he will marry the princess, but not immediately. He says that he needs at least 1 year to turn around his tiny nation into a place suitable for Scarlet, and the noble replies that he will convey this message to the king. They leave with that, and both Liam and Scarlet are relieved that the negotiations were successful. After that, Liam sends his clone along with Scarlet so that he can reach her mansion and then teleport him there. Once the clone reaches the mansion, he returns to the village and takes the original Liam to the mansion. Scarlet is there to welcome him, and as they head inside, Liam senses the power of radon coming from the mansion. He asks Scarlet if there is anything connected to the dragon here, and she leads him straight to the church, where a silver statue of Raiden is displayed at the altar. Raiden is surprised to see that the statue is still around, and Liam asks, "What is it?" The dragon asks him to cast the all-clear spell on it, and just as Liam does that, the statue turns into battle armor and appears around Scarlet's body. She can use holy magic with the armor's help, but she is exhausted after just one pump, and the armor turns back into a statue again. Raiden tells them that the battle armor was created by him so that humans could use his abilities, and this one was the most powerful one of them. It is also the last remaining one, but Liam says that they can just make new ones now. Raiden likes his confidence and tells him the recipe to make the magic armor. Liam uses the help of his spirits to create a small magic statue first, and then asks Scarlet to put her blood on it to form a contract with it. Just as she does that, the statue turns into an armor, and then now she can use holy magic without collapsing after just one attack. Raiden tells Liam that high-level magic items like this are close to living beings, and that gives him the idea of using familiar magic on it. He forms a contract with the armor and names it Ares, making it lighter and more powerful. Raiden tells Liam that he once named one armor on a whim, but he never thought of making it a familiar, and Liam guesses that it is the giant golem. Raiden affirms and tells him to try making a contract with it. Liam immediately teleports to the village and drops his blood on the golem, and it becomes a magic armor around him. He feels power rising inside him and shoots 37 power missiles at once, but that completely exhausts him as well. Raiden congratulates him because he is only the third person to survive wearing this armor, and if he can master it, he will own the world. Liam uses some mana crystals to recharge his stamina and then asks Scarlet if he can borrow the golem for some time. She tells him that he can keep it as long as he wants, and Liam immediately puts the golem in his item box. He then tells Scarlet that he is going back to the village, and she decides to head back to the capital and keep an eye on what the kingdom is thinking. Liam teleports her back to her mansion and then returns to the village. He sees that the construction of the houses is going well and the village should be ready within a week. Just then Rihanna comes running to tell him that they have found that a group of trolls live near their village. Liam has heard about trolls, who are huge, muscular monsters who can either be very violent or very kind. He asks Rena which type of trolls did they find, and she replies that they are the violent type. She is worried that humans are going to keep entering this region, and if the trolls pick a fight with them, it will be bad for the rest of them. That is why she asks Liam if he can take the trolls under his wing too, and he likes the idea. He heads towards the direction where the trolls were spotted, and on the way, he finds iron ore. That can be very useful. Suddenly the trolls come to confront the intruder, and they ask Liam who the hell is he. He introduces himself and then tells the trolls about the village he is building. He asks them to come live with them, but the leader of the trolls says that they don't trust humans. Liam tries to convince him that he is a good person and has elves and werewolves living with him, but the troll leader doesn't listen to him at all. He tells him to get lost or he will die, and then starts bashing the ground with his heavy club, creating craters with each hit. Liam dodges his strikes, and now he is certain that the trolls are really strong. He doesn't want to fight back, but the troll leader doesn't give him a chance and pushes him into a narrow crack where his feet get stuck. Liam realizes that though the troll leader seems dumb, he had planned this out from the beginning. Now that he has no way to escape, he decides to use the golem armor to protect himself from the heavy blow, and the troll leader is shocked to see him alive. Liam dispels the armor and returns it to the item box, and then tells the troll leader to stop fighting and look at his men first. The troll turns around to find that all of them have pissed their pants because they were also in the range of his previous attack. Thankfully, Liam used the golem armor to create multiple shadow clones who protected the trolls with barrier magic. The troll leader finally understands that Liam is not a bad guy, so he decides to listen to him. Liam begins to wonder if these trolls are really the violent kind, but anyway, he tells them the entire story. He asks the trolls to live in his village so that they can be safe from humans and no fights start needlessly. The troll leader asks him to show them the village first, and Liam immediately teleports all of them to the village. The trolls are astonished by the teleportation spell before anything else, and just then Chris comes there. As soon as she sees the troll leader, she recognizes him and asks, "What is he doing here?" The troll leader seems to know her too, and he throws the question right back at her. Chris doesn't answer and attacks him without a warning, knocking him to the ground. She starts acting smug and asks her what the hell is going on. She tells him that she thinks that the troll leader is an annoying idiot, so she fights him. Every time they meet, Liam realizes that they are fighting friends and not enemies. Chris then asks the troll leader, when did he become so weak so as to be defeated in just one hit? And Liam tells her that she grew stronger after becoming his familiar. That makes sense to the dumb werewolf, and she tells the troll leader to become one of Liam's familiars too, so that he can become stronger. She manages to convince him pretty easily, and Liam uses the contract magic on the troll as he names him Guy. The troll shrinks in size, but becomes stronger and more intelligent. Chris immediately challenges him to a rematch, and this time Guy can easily match her speed and strength. The other trolls watch and wonder, and say that their boss has turned into a legendary Gigas, and Liam realizes that is the name of the evolved species. He then names all the trolls and causes them to evolve into Gigas, and they all join his village the next day. Guy and the rest of the evolved trolls carry huge rocks from their base to the village on Liam's orders, but they don't understand why he needs them. He tells them that he is going to take out iron from these rocks, and then summons a fire spirit and an earth spirit to do the job. They create a furnace and melt the rocks, and aside from iron, they also get a bit of copper, some gold, and a few nuggets of mithril. Liam, the greedy, thinks that he should have got more mithril, because then he could mass-produce holy battle armors, but Rhydon tells him to be happy with what he has, because mithril is quite rare. Liam asks if he can't just make magic armor out of iron, and Rhydon tells him that every armor needs at least some mithril, because other metals are not strong enough to hold the power. Liam decides to give it a try anyway, and he makes the earth spirit pour molten iron into a mold before infusing Ron's power in it, and as the mold around it crumples, the armor is revealed to be a statue of the sun. He explains to Rhydon that if the name given to the armor matches its shape, it should provide better results, and surprisingly, it works. Liam succeeds in creating the first ever holy armor made of only iron. He creates a total of 15 armors after that, and divides them equally among the elves, werewolves, and the Gigas. The next day, as everyone is trying out their new armor, a bunch of bandits arrive there and immediately start talking about how rich they can get by selling the elves. Liam is about to show them their place, but Rena asks him to stop because she's got this. She calls a pink-haired elf and whispers something in her ears before sending her to the bandits. The bandits think that she is surrendering to them, but just as their leader tries to grab her, the elf sends him flying with a punch. The other bandits are shocked at this, and they take out their weapons to fight, but the elf girl knocks them out in an instant as well. Liam is moved to see how strong the elves have become with the magic armor, even though they are the weakest species in his village. He thinks that he should make more armor, but then the thought of coming up with new names for all of them drives him crazy. See, while he is distracted, the bandit leader suddenly appears behind him and takes him hostage, telling everyone to surrender if they want to see this boy live. Everyone collectively shrugs on seeing how stupid the bandit is, and he doesn't even understand why they are acting so carefree. Liam just points his fist at the bandit's chin and knocks him out with a magic missile, scaring the crap out of the rest of the bandits. Later, Liam goes to his pocket dimension and summons a bunch of water spirits there. He asks them if they can separate salt from seawater and then put it back into his item box, and they agree. He immediately starts pouring the seawater stored in his item box, and the water spirits begin separating it. Liam notices one of them is not working and asks if she didn't understand the instructions, but she informs him that she was the first water spirit he formed a familiar contract with, causing her to evolve. She tells him that because of that she has become smarter and more capable than other spirits. She boasts that she is learning how to possess things in the real world, but the Spirit King scolds her when she overdoes it. Liam asks her what does she mean, and she explains that strong spirits can possess objects permanently, and they can lend their power to weapons and magic items. Liam is curious to try out this ability of hers, but before that he decides to make her more powerful. He names the water spirit Zero, and she starts feeling the increase in her abilities. Liam then summons a fire and earth spirit to create a metal statue of the water spirit and asks her to possess it. The spirit does it easily, and by doing that Liam manages to create a water element magic armor. The next day, he gives the prototype elemental magic armors to Run, Chris, and Guy, and they can use the power of the spirits inside them. They are really excited because this new set of armor is even stronger than the one he gave them yesterday. Liam thinks that his prototypes are a success, and with a few more of these armors, he can protect his nation. However, Rhydon knows that he is underestimating himself because even right now he has enough power to go to war with other nations. After a couple days, Liam returns back to his hometown, where his Suna and Jod were eagerly waiting for him. They scold him for not giving them their daily dose of vitamin D recently, and then asked him to lend them some money. Because he keeps everything they get from doing their quests, Liam decides to do them one better, and give them a part of the money that Scarlet paid him to keep Rhydon's existence a secret. The girls are intimidated by such a huge amount of money, but they decide to keep it. They immediately go shopping with the money, and instead of buying something for themselves, these beta simp thoughts buy a gift for Liam, who has a ton of money. They buy the only available magic book in the entire city, and Liam learns a new spell from it. He thanks the two girls, and then takes them to an inn where he reveals that he is building a country. They are shocked to hear this, and when Liam invites them to live with him, he feels that they will refuse. However, his are willing to follow him to the end of the world. They are ready to start the journey immediately, but Liam says he will master the new spell he learned from a magic book. First, he casts the spell called Dust Box, and a black box appears in front of him. He spams the spell repeatedly to master it, and once he is sure that he has reached the peak, he decides to test it out. He tells the girls that the dust box is like the item box, and it can hold things according to the spell user's mana. The girls are curious to know the difference, so Liam puts a slice of their food inside it for 1 minute it, and when he takes it out it starts smelling like his dad's socks. Liam realizes that this spell spoils anything that is kept inside the dust box quickly, and Asuna gets excited to hear him say that it can be useful in some special cases. However, he doesn't know how exactly they can use it, but then he sees a waitress carrying a bottle of wine. Liam immediately chases after her and gets a bottle of freshly squeezed grape juice. He decides to add some yeast to it and then places it in the dust box for 5 minutes. When he takes it out, it has become wine, and Liam realizes that his guess was right, and this box can ferment things quickly. He begins thinking about how else can he use it, but before that he decides to test out the relation between time and fermentation. He puts 10 bottles of grape juice into the dust box at 1 hour intervals, and then calls Jod to do the taste test, because he just looks young and is actually a veteran. Hunter Jod starts with the bottle that was in the dust box for 1 hour and moves up one by one to the bottle that was there for 10 full hours. Jod finishes her assessment and says that the 1 hour bottle tastes like 1-year-old wine. Liam concludes that 1 hour in the dust box is equal to 1 year. After that he takes Asuna and Jod to his village, and they are astonished to see 3 different races working under him. They bond with each other quickly and throw a party at night. The next day, they go to the forest and find a bunch of wild fruit trees. Liam makes everyone collect fruits so that he can turn them into wine and start his alcohol brand. As always, Guy and Chris start competing with each other, and Rena tells them to stop picking all the fruits from the same trees. Suddenly, Liam hears someone crying in pain, and he immediately rushes to help. He sees a pale man biting one of the evolved trolls and immediately hits the attacker with his power missiles. He sends the attacker flying, but he gets up and runs away into the forest. Liam decides not to follow him and turns to check on the injured person. Guy is already trying to wake him up when suddenly the man turns pale as well and attacks Guy like a rabid dog. Guy somehow holds him back and restrains him, but the man doesn't return to his senses. Liam thinks that he might be affected by some negative status effect, so he uses the dispelling spell on him. The spell starts working and the man grows calmer as his bite marks heal, and then he falls sound asleep. After seeing all this, Jod deduces that the man was probably bitten by a vampire and that turned him into a vampire temporarily. Everyone calls stupid for suggesting that, because they know that vampires can't come out in the sun. However, Jod knows more than all of them combined, and she says that it must have been a Dracula. She explains that Dracula is a mutated vampire, born once every few centuries, and it is so powerful that, because of its influence, the other vampires become immune to sunlight. Liam realizes that they are facing a really tough opponent this time, and he tells everyone to gather as much information as possible. Soon a werewolf comes running into the village with bad news. He tells Liam that he just spotted an army of 10,000 vampires around 10 kilometers away from the village. Everyone panics on hearing this, and the werewolf scout reports that he saw different species like goblins and orcs in the vampire army too. All this evidence is enough for Jod to confirm that a Dracula is indeed leading the vampires. Rihanna says that vampires are usually a timid species that live quietly, and the Dracula is making them violent. They wonder if they should fight the vampire army, but they also start fearing that they will turn into vampires if they are bitten. Liam decides to evacuate all the nearby villages first and sends his subordinates to warn them, but it is pointless because the vampires had already taken over some villages by that time. The person who saw an entire village of orcs losing to vampires and turning into them tells Liam that there was one special vampire leading the army. While everyone is worried on hearing this, Liam says that he knows how they can stop the vampires quickly. Rena uses water magic to drown the vampires, and Chris uses explosion magic to blow them away. Suddenly, the blood particles in the air come together and take the shape of Dracula. Liam was waiting for this chance, and then teleports him away to separate him from his army. Dracula is not pleased with that, and Liam asks him if he is willing to coexist with others. Dracula refuses to coexist with other species. That answer is enough to help Liam make his mind, and he attacks Dracula with his power missiles. He easily blocks them all, and then appears behind Liam to attack him. Liam teleports away in time, and then uses holy lances to attack him. Even they don't do any damage, and Dracula turns into dust, and then reappears completely healed. Dracula then turns into dust again to attack him and catches him from behind. Liam uses an illusion spell at the last moment as he escapes the vampire's clutches, making him bite an illusion. He tells Liam that his attacks won't hurt him because he is already dead and he can regenerate infinitely because of the life force around him. He tells Liam that the fight is over and then pounces on him, but Liam has finally got the way to defeat him. He quickly summons the dust box and traps Dracula inside it. Dracula can't seem to break the walls of the dust box, no matter how hard he tries, and he gets frustrated quickly. Liam thinks that living things can't be placed inside the dust box, but since Dracula claimed to be already dead, he can be put in there. He decides to see how long can Dracula hold out in a place where there is no life force, and it takes a full 10 hours before the dust box shows any progress. At night, the dust box tells Liam that Dracula has entered a state of suspended animation, which means he is basically a vegetable right now. Liam is relieved to hear that and thinks that he has finally won with that. He teleports back to the battlefield, where Asuna and Jod are glad to see that he is unharmed. Liam is not interested in them right now, and he is more curious about the people that were under Dracula's influence. They are sitting still on the floor, not even making a sound. Asuna says that they suddenly stopped moving a while ago, so she figured out that Dracula had been defeated. She takes Liam to one of the former vampires and breaks his fangs without using any strength. Liam thinks that this means that all of them are free from Dracula's control, when suddenly some of them start screaming in pain as magic energy is released from their body. Liam doesn't understand what the hell is going on, and Wright explains that all the people here were turned into vampires using Dracula's power. Now that he has been defeated, they are not receiving any power for him, and their bodies are starting to disintegrate. Liam wants to save all of them, and he suddenly remembers that he was able to use the holy magic spell to dispel vampirism from an evolved troll earlier. He tries it out on a vampire who turns into a normal goblin within seconds. Liam is hopeful that he can save everyone now, so he begins casting the holy spell on all the vampires in sight, turning them normal. However, there are more people suffering than he can help, and he starts panicking. Rhydon tells him to calm down and reminds him that there is a way to boost his power to help everyone. Liam realizes that he is talking about the golem armor, and he immediately summons and wears it with his magic power greatly boosted. He modifies the purification spell to increase its range and casts the spell over all the vampires. A blinding light fills the valley as everyone is cured of Dracula's dark powers, but Liam has used up too much energy and he collapses right as the magic armor vanishes. When he wakes up an hour later, Asuna lashes at him for being reckless, but he is not in the mood for her. He asks her what happened to the people infected by Dracula's power, and she points toward them, showing Liam that they are perfectly fine now. Just then Chris and Rana also come running to check up on Liam, and he tells them that he is fine. He then asks Rana to gather all the original vampires because he has to talk to them soon. The vampires stand in front of Liam, and he is surprised because they are not even 20 of them in total. The oldest vampire steps up and bows to Liam, begging him to spare his people. He is ready to accept the responsibility for what happened today and give his life, but Liam tells him that there is no need for that. He says that since they were all being controlled by Dracula, it is not their fault. After that, he offers the vampires to join his village and promises that he will make it possible for them to move. During the day, the vampires are taken aback by his offer, and Liam assures them that he is not like Dr. Ula. He then tells the vampires that if they want to join his village, they will have to follow 2 rules. The first rule is to do what he says because he Loki dreams of being a dictator. And the second rule is not to cause trouble with other residents of the village. The vampires gladly accept the offer, and Liam starts turning them into his familiars. This time he has made some changes to the familiar contract magic so that he can decide the direction in which they evolve. He uses the advanced spell to turn the vampires into high vamp empires who don't get destroyed by sunlight. For days after that incident, Dracula, who had been rotting inside the dust box, finally vanishes, and Liam finally dispels his dust box that was lying in the middle of the forest. Meanwhile, a noble from a neighboring country sees the video footage of Liam and Dracula fighting. He initially planned to use Dracula as an excuse to send his army into the forest and claim the land, but now he is more curious and afraid of Liam. He asks his assistant to find as much information he can about him, because only then can they take action. On the other hand, Liam's village has grown significantly after the incident with Dracula. The tens of thousands of creatures that were displayed by the incident became his familiars, and now his village has expanded enough to be called a city. As he is inspecting the construction work with his pet slimes, one afternoon Guy comes to inform him that some merchants from the country of Quater want to meet with the king of this land. Liam says that he is not really a king, but everyone in the village disagrees with him. And they say that he is the only one who can be their king and start cheering his name. On hearing this, Reincarnated comes out and officially declares that he recognizes Liam as the king of this land and country. A few days after that, Liam visits Princess Scarlet, who tells him that she has been investigating the intentions of the king and other ministers about the promised land. She has found nothing helpful, but she is sure that the kingdom is hiding something. They are still deeply interested in the promised land, and she believes that there is something they want hidden there. Liam thanks her for the information and then returns to the village, where he asks Reincarnated if he knows what the kingdom is looking for. Reincarnated just gives him a hint, saying that he left the dragon golem to protect the thing, and Liam immediately teleports to the ruins where he found the golem. Reincarnated then tells him to fill the room with his magic power, and on doing so, an underground staircase appears right in the middle of the floor. Liam follows the stairs and comes to a room with mystic ruins carved on the walls. He gets a feeling that it is a storage device, just like his magic ring, and Reincarnated tells him that he is exactly right. He tells Liam that everyone knows that dragons love to hoard treasure, and that treasure includes ancient and forbidden magic spells. He says that this place was once his nest, and there are many ancient spells hidden here, and the stronger Liam grows, the more levels he can unlock to find more of them. Liam is thrilled on learning this, and he immediately downloads a spell from the room into his ring. When he casts the spell, white translucent bubbles appear in front of him, and they burst as soon as he touches them. While absorbing his magic power, Liam does some experiments and finds that these bubbles cancel out any magic spell, which is a way to prevent anyone from stealing the spells hidden in the room. Reincarnated tells him that he needs to master this spell first before he can access other spells, and Lion starts attacking them with different methods. He finds that the bubbles are immune to physical damage, and they simply divide when they absorb a magic attack. He realizes that he needs to keep attacking the bubbles to master them and to speed up the process. He summons his clone to help him. While the original Liam creates the bubbles, his clone keeps attacking them, and after a couple hours, he manages to clear the trial and access the spells in the room. The first spell he finds is the Absolute Force Shield, which can block one physical attack with 100% certainty, even if it is the most powerful attack in the world, but it shatters after that. Liam summons multiple clones to help him practice the spell, to increase the number of shields and decrease the casting time. He realizes that the skill needs a lot more work to be useful in actual battle, and thinks that he should work on improving his magic capacity first. Raiden agrees with him, saying that once he increases his magic capacity a bit, he should enter the second floor of a nest to obtain the absolute magic shield that can block one magic attack. Liam suddenly gets an idea, and he tells Raiden that he doesn't need to enter the second floor to learn the new spell. He thinks that he can recreate that spell himself by modifying the force shield, and after a while of brainstorming, he alters the formula of the force shield to turn it into a magic shield. Rayon is left stunned by his abilities, and he tells Liam that he is the first person in centuries to achieve the feat of creating an ancient spell like this. A couple days later, while Liam is minding his own business, Asuna comes running to him with a message from Guy who wants to see him. Immediately, Liam teleports to Guy's location and finds some knights standing in front of the trolls. Guy approaches Liam and tells him that these people are from the kingdom of Palta, and they want to talk to him about an important matter. Just then, the leader of the knights comes forth and introduces himself as X-Blast. Liam asks him what is the important matter that he needs to discuss, and Blast tells him that the king of PDA wants him to marry his daughter Flora to maintain a good relationship with his country. Liam is taken aback on hearing this, and then Blast asks him about his engagement with Princess Scarlet of the Jamal Kingdom. Liam tells him that they're not going to be engaged this year because they still have a lot of work to do, and Blast sees this as a chance to get ahead. He tells Liam that their country won't delay the engagement at all, and for that Princess Flora is here too on his cue. The blue-haired princess comes out of her carriage and Liam, the little pervert, is left speechless on seeing her. Blast tells him that if he wants, he can leave Flora in his care right now, and Liam is shocked to hear how desperate this man is. He says that they should at least discuss a few basic things first, and invites them to his village. Blast gladly takes his offer, but then suddenly Liam feels danger approaching. He quickly uses the absolute magic shield, and the very next moment, a powerful fire spell comes towards him. It creates a huge explosion, knocking out everyone in its range. But Liam manages to protect Princess Flora from any damage. He wonders what the hell was that, and Raiden tells him that it was a suicide bomber spirit, which is an artificial monster created for its great destructive power. Power Raiden adds that the monster was targeting Flora, and if Liam was even a second late, she would be cooked for real. Liam is shocked to hear this and asks who would do this, but then he looks around and finds that Blast is nowhere to be seen. He wonders if he was behind the attack, and Raiden affirms saying that he must have ordered it because nobles are sick and twisted, and they can do anything to achieve their goals. Liam is really curious now, and he tells Guy to protect Flora and the soldiers if he wants. While he goes to find some answers, he teleports to Scarlet's palace and brings her with him to the site of the explosion, where Flora is still laying unconscious. Liam tells Scarlet about her, and she tells him that there is no princess named Flora in any neighboring country. That confuses Liam, and he explains the details about meeting a guy called X-Blast, who claimed that Flora was a princess from Palta. Scarlet tells him that she has heard about Blast, who is the right-hand man of Pa's king, and he handles all his dirty work. When Liam tells her about the attack of the artificial spirit monster, Scarlet understands Blast's plan. She says that Pa wanted to send a fake princess to marry Liam, and as soon as she was in his country, she would be killed so that they could get an excuse to start a war. She then checks Flora and finds a mole on her chest which makes her sure that she is a secret child of a high-ranking noble who is not officially recognized but was sent here just to be a sacrifice. Soon Flora wakes up and Liam, the shameless, tells her that he is expecting thanks for saving her life. Flora panics on hearing that she is still alive, and she tells Liam to get away from her because she is dangerous for him. She shows him a curse mark on her hand, saying that even if he can protect her from external attacks, she is doomed to die anyway. She doesn't want to create any trouble for him after he saved her and asks him to leave her alone. Liam, however, grabs her hand and neutralizes her curse with holy magic. He then asks if she has any other trap on her body that he needs to take care of, and Flora still can't believe that he got rid of the curse. Scarlet proudly boasts about Liam being able to use holy magic that can erase all sorts of curses. Liam asks her if she knows what the curse was, and she tells him that it would turn her into a monster, and she would obey all the commands of the person who cast the curse. Raiden suddenly realizes that a dark magic item was used on her, and he believes that it was the same thing that was used to create the Dracula, so that he would attack their village. Liam grows furious on that, but he decides to deal with Flora first. He tells her that since she has no place to go, she should stay with them, and promises that he won't let the pool to kingdom harm her from now on. After that, Liam and Scarlet have a private chat, where she tells him that all the 3 neighboring countries in this region are looking down on him, and he needs to show off his power to shut them down. Liam asks if he needs to pick a fight with someone, but Scarlet has a better idea than that. She tells him that he needs to issue his own currency. First and foremost, She shows him 3 versions of the silver coins used in her country and says that the original version is the clearest, but when it is copied to be given out to the general public, it loses many details. Liam understands that she is telling him to create coins which have a uniform, high level of detail, even when they are for general distribution, which will show the other countries that he has superior technology. Liam likes the idea, and he immediately summons the fire and earth spirits to create his first batch of silver coins. Next he decides to make copper coins, and Scarlet suggests him to add tin to copper and make bronze coins instead, because that is cheaper. She suggests him to use 70% copper, because it is harder to get details on the coins if the ratio is lower. But Liam surprises her by making coins with just 50% copper. Soon after that, Asuna and Jod go to a merchant guild in their city to show him the silver coins issued by Liam. The manager of the guild is stunned to hear that such high-quality coins are for end distribution, and when he sees the copper coins, he is left speechless, because no one in the world can make such detailed coins with just 50% copper. The girls ask him what is the exchange rate of the coins, and he says that if they are all of the same quality, their value can be 3 times that of the currency of Jamal Kingdom. On the other hand, Liam gets a letter from his eldest brother, ALB, who arrogantly asks him to come see him so that they can talk about his country. When Scarlet reads the letter, she becomes furious at AL's audacity and tells Liam that he doesn't need to respond to his letter because Al is not the head of their family and he doesn't even have any power or position. Liam accepts her suggestion, and instead of ALB, he invites his brother, Bruno, whom he actually respects, to visit his country. Bruno is surprised to see how developed it is, and he formally requests Liam to let their family do business with his country. Liam gets taken aback on hearing this, but since Bruno is sincere about his request, he agrees to do business with him. Liam contacts Scarlet through telepathy and asks for her advice about the matter before sealing the deal, and she tells him that he should treat Bruno kindly when it comes to taxes and rules of business. On the other hand, she wants him to treat ALB strictly if he ever shows his face here, because he needs to show the world that he treats his friends nicely but doesn't let anyone mistreat him. Liam concludes the business deal with Bruno after that, and later he goes to his pocket dimension. Raiden tells him that while using currency to establish dominance is a smart move, it only works on smart people. He fears that dumb people will keep invading Liam's country, and he needs to train to fight them off. Liam begins to think, how can he get better as a fighter? Because using magic has some limits. Raiden tells him that he can use magic power to strengthen his body, but Liam doesn't understand how that is possible. Raiden tells him to watch and learn, and then, with a bright flash, he appears in front of Liam as a bratty loli. Liam freaks out on seeing Raiden like that, but the Eli Lily Dragon tells him to watch his body's magic flow. He strengthens the body by circulating magic through it and then effortlessly leaps around the room, and Liam understands what he should do. Now he circulates his magic to his legs as well and then jumps high, but he can't maintain that form for long and comes crashing down. Raiden is impressed because he was not expecting Liam to learn it so quickly, but he has a lot more to teach him. He creates the magic absorbing bubbles on Liam's head, hands and feet, and tells him to fill them with different amounts of magic to improve his control. Liam fails to even fill the bubbles properly in the beginning, but he doesn't lose motivation and keeps training till he can easily move magic power around his body. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and watch the video on your screen next.